This is section 10.5, volume and surface area. Volume is the amount of space occupied by a solid unit, and the units are cubic units or units cubed, so something like centimeters cubed, or you could write out cubic centimeters. It's just this is a little bit faster. And the idea on volume is that pretend these were teeny tiny little cubes. How many of these teeny tiny little cubes could I put inside the bigger cube? So that's the idea on volume. And we're going to look at the volume of box-like shapes. They can be rectangular solids, kind of like a Kleenex box, or it could be a cube. The volume of a regular box is just length times width times height. The volume of a cube is also length times width times height. It just so happens that each of those units are s, and s times s times s is s cubed. So to find the volume of a box, it's just a matter of multiplying one dimension times the other dimension times the other dimension, which is going to be 48 meters cubed. The volume of a pyramid is given by this formula. Volume equals 1/3 capital B times H. What capital B refers to? It is the area of the base. The base of a pyramid can be all sorts of different polygons. Right here we've got this shown as a square. This one down here is a rectangle. And H is the height of the pyramid. And height refers to the perpendicular distance from the top straight down to the base. So the area of the base is something we're going to have to figure out first. So just take a look at this base. And that base is a rectangle. The area of a rectangle we learned before is just length times width. So the big B, which stands for area of that base, is 10 times 8, which is 80 square inches. I'm not going to worry about the units just yet, so that's what B is. So now I can go into the volume formula, 1/3 times 80 times the height of 6. And then it's your choice of what you do arithmetic-wise. You can use your calculator straight on. I like to reduce if I can. 3 goes into 6 twice. 2 times 180 is 160. But you could just do on your calculator 1/3 times 80 times 6, and it comes out to be 160. But we were talking about volume, so it has to be inches cubed. The volume of a right circular cylinder, think like a Coke can or something, is this, pi r squared times h, where r is the radius and h is the height. And it is a right circular cylinder, meaning it's straight up and down. It's not the Leaning Tower of Pisa where it's leaning, it is straight up and down. So we're going to find the volume of this cylinder. We're going to write the answer in terms of pi, and then we're going to round to the tenths place. The only little tricky thing on here is the fact that they have given you this 20 yards, which is all the way across. What they've told us is that the diameter is 20 yards. If the diameter is 20 yards, that means the radius is 10 yards, and that's a value I need for my formula. My formula is pi r squared h, so it's pi times a radius of 10 squared times a height of 9 gives me 900 pi cubic yards. That is my answer in terms of pi. All I have to do is either use the pi button on the calculator or multiply by 3.14, and our answer rounded to the tenths place is 2827.4 yards cubed. The volume of a cone is similar to the formula for a pyramid. The volume of a cone is 1/3 times pi r squared h. 1/3 pi r squared h. So 1/3, pi is pi for right now. R is 7 squared times a height of 10. So you can multiply all of this out on the calculator and you get 513.1 meters cubed. Volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. So we want to find the volume of a sphere with radius 5 centimeters. So its volume equals 4/3 times pi times that radius, which is 5 cubed. So you can type that in the calculator and you will get 524 centimeter cubed. So what I hope you see so far is that you've got a particular formula. All you have to do is take the information and plug it in. Now some of these problems will get a little more complicated. like this one, which is not that hard, but you just have to see it correctly. This is like a Coke can on its side. You would probably rather be looking at it straight up and down, which makes it easier to name the radius and the height. So think about turning this sideways, and we've got a diameter of 14 meters. That's what the 14 refers to. And a height of 8 meters. So if that diameter is 14 meters, that means the radius is 7 meters. And we are finding the volume. Volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. So it's pi times 7 squared times h of 8. And it says give the answers in terms of pi and then round. So the pi answer on this is 392 pi meters cubed. And multiplied out using 3.14 for pi is 1,232 because we've rounded to the nearest whole number. So there's your two answers. And here's just a comment. Sometimes these units are already typed in for you, so there would just be a box, and then next to it it would say meters cubed, and you don't have to worry about the units. And sometimes there is a drop-down menu where might be meters, it might say meters squared, it might say meters cubed, so they're making you choose which is the appropriate unit. All right, this problem will require us to use two different formulas. This is like an ice cream cone, which you see we're looking at a cone on the bottom, so we will have to do the volume of that cone, and we'll also have to deal with the top part, the ice cream part, which is actually 1/2 of a sphere. So the volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared h. So that's 1/3 times pi times the radius. Now this whole diameter is 12, so the radius is 6, so times 6 squared times a height of 14. So when we work that out, we're looking at 168 pi. I'm not going to worry about the units or working it out arithmetic-wise until I finish over here. So just this part is 168 pi. So this is 1/2 times the formula for the volume of a sphere, which is 4/3 pi r cubed. I did a teeny bit of reducing right here. 2 into 4 is 2, so I'm looking at 2/3 pi times r, which is still 6, cubed. And when you enter this in the calculator, you will get 144 pi. And the total volume will be the sum of those two numbers. Add those together, and you get 312 pi cubic feet. Multiply 312 times pi and round it to the nearest whole number is 980 cubic feet. So there's our two answers. Now surface area is different than volume. Surface area is the area of the outer surface. That's why it's called surface area. Think about how much wrapping paper you would need to cover this box. Now there is a formula for surface area for a cube and a formula for surface area of a box. Instead of memorizing or trying to use the formula, I think it's just easier to do it little piece by piece. And what I mean by piece is this. What you have when you deal with a box is surface-wise you have top and bottom, which are the same. You have left and right, which are the same. And you have front and back, which are the same. Now, if I can highlight some things, this right here, I'm trying to highlight the bottom. That bottom rectangle is a 3x6 rectangle. That's 18 square centimeters. But that's the bottom, which is identical to the top. So right now I'm looking at 36 square centimeters. And the unit is square centimeters because it is surface area. Now erase that one, and let's color the left side. Not a very good drawing, but you can see the left side, which is identical to the right side over here. And that is a 3x4 rectangle. So 3x4 is 12 square centimeters, but I need to double that because I have a left and a right. So that's 24 square centimeters. And then the last thing I need to do is to highlight the front. So this is your front, which is a 4x6, which is 24 square centimeters. But I have two of those. I have a front and a back, which makes 48 square centimeters. So I need to add 36 plus 24 plus 48, that was square centimeters, and that will give me 108 square centimeters. Now, I did that piece by piece to show you where all the numbers come from, but really finding the surface area of a box is very easy. Notice your dimensions. You have 3 dimensions. If you take 2 dimensions at a time, then you're going to get your surface area. What I mean by that is do a 3 by 6. So that's those 2 being combined together. Then let's do the 3 by the 4. That was the next product I did. That's this one right here. That was the 12. Double gave us a 24. And the last one is to do the 4 by 6, which is what gave me 24. So even without a picture, I can follow this. Let's say I have a box that is a 4 by 7 by 2 inch box. Well, 4 times 7 is going to be one of my products. 7 by 2 is going to be one of my products. And 2 times 4 will be one of my products. So that's 28, that's 14, that's 8, but then double each of these because they each represent a top and a bottom, or a left and a right, or a front and a back. So that's really what the formula says to do. So double that is 48, double the 14 is 28, double the 8 is 16, and add that up is 92 squares. Let's keep it with centimeters.